Disciplining children comes out in different ways. Praising him is very important for good behavior. Don't miss out on that. Utilize time out. I just shared with you. Be consistent with the discipline. Now, very often, this is a common complaint that I get from lots of parents. That, ma'am, we are living with our in-laws also, and our in-laws allow some things, and we say certain things. Okay. Another concern is the father is through the day he's out, so when he comes he allows everything, and I go through the whole day, helping, disciplining, everything. How do I handle this? Dear parents, it's a complete package. Let's understand this. I understand that your in-laws or your husband or you may have certain ways of disciplining, but it needs to be discussed under one roof in absence of your child, because there has to be one person who is going to discipline. So it's also important to tell. It could be grandparents, no doubt about it, but talk to them. What would be the repercussions of it? What are the repercussions when these things are happening? How are you seeing a change in behavior? And believe me, no grandparent will want them to be spoiled. So very important is that to help the grandparents also know what you're doing, and let the grandparents either tell the child, okay, go and ask your mama if this can be done. Let your father, let the father can have his own discipline, but it has to be consistent with mother. And talk to your husband, talk to your partner, with regard to how is it going to be detrimental if we are both going to talk in different. Every time when he wants to get certain things, he will come to you and get it away. So what is the point in me disciplining him through the day? Whole day I have to take care of it. And what happens, what are the detrimental effects of those, are very important. Also explain the children. Very important is explain the children the different rules, and simple language. Explain the rules, why certain things need to be done and why you want them to be done. And so they have to have some reasoning why you are doing it. Just ऐसे बोल दिया बाहर खेलने नहीं जाना है, that's not going to help. But if you see it's getting cloudy, it's going to be raining, you say, okay beta, बारिश होने वाली है, आज के दिन मत जाओ, आप घर पे खेल लो. Or if you are going, go, but the minute it starts raining you will come back home, or mama will call you. So these are the things which are to be explained. There are simple rules, and the rules are very well understood by the children, and they will follow it, not one time, not twice, but as a consistent pattern. They will definitely set clear rules. Okay. The minute you say, okay, you have spoiled your clothes, okay, go and put it in the bucket. The child puts it over there only. फिर आप क्या करते हो, आप खुद ही उठाते हो और जाके बकेट में डाल देते हो. तो आपने सेट कैसे किए रूल्स? यू हैव नॉट सेट एनी रूल्स. कम बैक whenever she that particular cloth lying over there, call the child, ask him to pick it up and put it, which means you're setting a rule कि ये चीजें मुझे तुमने करने के लिए चाहिए हैं और तुम ही करोगे. These are simple things which will help the children. Be consistent. अभी आपने बोल दिया नहीं, आपको टीवी नहीं देखने मिलेगा, another half an hour I'm not going to switch on, and वहां पे बच्चे ने tantrum सोना शुरू कर, अच्छा बाबा ठीक है देख ले. So you've given up on it. So you're not applying the consistency of that rule into practice. That's another important. Also, don't expect an overnight change in the child. Give some time. Be patient. Explain the rules. Maybe you will have to do it repeatedly. Use simple languages. Show him what is. There are so many books, dear parents, which you can share, and I'm going to share a few with you all on this platform. For example, very often children have this habit of hitting with the hand. So there are very beautiful books called as Hands Are Not for Hitting, Germs Are Not for Spreading, Teeth Are Not for Biting, Legs Are Not for Kicking. So what are they for? And that book has given very beautifully what exactly those are for. And they can be used with the children as a part of your bedtime story, as a part of your sharing, as a part of his understanding about what is right, what is wrong, and so on and so forth. Now, these books are not necessary that you need to buy. They are very much available in the PDF form on Google, and they can be downloaded, and you can show it on your television, on your tab, on your phone, whatever it is. But you need to be there consistently when you're doing this, when you're introducing these kind of books. So, another important thing is be firm. Your voice is a tool. अच्छा मत करना बेटा, ऐसा मत करना, ऐसे बोलोगे तो उसका कोई असर नहीं होने वाला. वो बेटा वही करते रहने वाला है जो करना है. It's important for your voice to be a tool. So being firm. I don't want you to do this. Are you clear? That has to be the sound. That has to be the voice. That has to be the tone. Which means the child knows that I now cannot go on winning over whatever I want. I cannot only have complaints if my mama gets upset with me, because she's already told me. But नहीं बेटा ऐसा नहीं करते, बेटा पैर नहीं मारते, बेटा ऐसा नहीं करते, वो बच्चा नहीं सुनेगा आपकी. So if you're really meaning no, then your voice and your words should really match. I'm not saying that you have to scream at the child, but being firm and being screaming are two different things. Be reasonable. When you're disciplining, किस चीज के लिए डिसिप्लिन कर रहे हो? ओके, हो सकता है बच्चे से कुछ गिर गया, कुछ स्पिल ओवर हो गया, नो हार्म. द चाइल्ड मे वांट टू आल्सो वाइप इट, लेट हिम वाइप विथ यू. अब गिर गया है ना, उसको तो आप उठा नहीं सकते हो, उसमें से तो निकाल के नहीं दे सकते हो. सो हो गया है, बट सी दैट यू सेइंग ओके दिस टाइम इट हैज हैपेंड, नेक्स्ट टाइम बी केयरफुल. बिकॉज इसके बाद बियॉन्ड आप कुछ नहीं कर सकते. सो व्हाट इज द रीजनेबल डिसिप्लिन दैट यू आर गोइंग, इसके लिए आप उसको टाइम आउट दोगे तो कोई मतलब नहीं है, मतलब इट्स नॉट गोइंग टू हेल्प. एंड क्रिएट अ शेड्यूल, वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. खाने का टाइम होना चाहिए, पढ़ने का टाइम होना चाहिए, खेलने जाने का टाइम होना चाहिए, टीवी देखने का टाइम होना चाहिए. सो यू नीड टू हैव दैट शेड्यूलिंग. एंड हो सकता है कि आपके घर में everybody is not abiding by it, but you can definitely talk to the people in your house to make it more possible if you want your child to be disciplined well. So here, anyways, these points I have kind of shared quite a bit. Now I'll go to the next point, which is to do with, are you unknowingly harming your child by not parenting your child as in the school? Now why I'm sharing this, because as Muskan said, I'm sure a lot of parents from Angel Paradise are also going to see. So I'm sure Muskan is doing a brilliant job with her schools, and maybe and definitely I'm so sure that parents are all happy. But probably if this is being observed by any other parents of any other school, wherein you find that okay, one of the teacher is not very great, or my last year's teacher was much better than so and so. इस तरह के comparisons होते हैं. We are human beings, we are bound to have these kind of comparisons. Please, I request you all, do not share it in front of the children. Never share it in front of the children. आपको जो भी स्कूल के बारे में कंप्लेंट है, जो भी डिफिकल्टी है, go and talk to the authorities कि हमको ये चीजें हमको नहीं पसंद आ रही है, या इसमें आप कुछ मॉडिफिकेशन ला सकते हो क्या. Go and talk to the teacher. This is the method I'm feeling that is what was done in the previous years. My child was much more happy about it, but this is not what I'm happy about. Go and talk to the teacher. Do not talk in front of the children, because it's also reflecting on the child that my parents don't like my teacher, so why should I like? I also don't like her. Because you're saying something, you are reflecting it on the child unknowingly. And that's why I've mentioned, are you unknowingly harming your children? Because it's not happening intentionally. Probably you're just talking to another friend of yours on the phone, but the child is playing there, his ears are with you. So please avoid any kind of such talks in presence. So what happens at school also depends on what happens at home. How the child behaves in the school also depends on how the child is behaving at home, or how what kind of openness or what kind of restrictions have been posed on at home. So handling, now very important is, we have to understand that all children come from different kinds of home. Some come from nuclear families, some come from single families, some come from divorced families, some come from joint families, some come from extended families जहाँ पे uncle aunties everybody is there. These are different families, and अगर हम उनको एक तरह से बढ़ाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, तो that's not going to be solution. Each family will have to find their own solution to solve their problems. Of course, parenting skills एक चीज है, and उसको implement करना another चीज है. So we have already spoken about the parenting styles. Very important is to remember, your child's temperament is different from another child's temperament. Do not ever compare your child with the other child. ये देखिए कितने आराम से बैठ के सब कुछ आंसर करता है, तू नहीं करता है. आजकल तो ऑनलाइन क्लासेस हैं, उसमें ज्यादा दिखाई देता है कि दिस चाइल्ड इज आंसरिंग एंड यू आर नॉट. बोलना, तेरे को आता है ना, बोलना. No, this is what the parents do, and the child feels even more miserable. He feels frustrated कि मुझे नहीं देखना है, मुझे नहीं देखना है मेरे फ्रेंड को क्या बोलना है, मुझे नहीं देखना है मुझे स्क्रीन पे क्या बोलना है, मुझे नहीं देखना है मुझे टीचर क्या पढ़ा रही है. Because my mother is standing right there. तू खाता है ना, रैबिट क्या खाता है तेरे को नहीं मालूम, तू खाता है ना, कितनी बार तो मैंने तेरे पुलाव में डाला है, क्या होता है वो ऑरेंज कलर का, ऐसे लंबा होता है, क्या होता है. Dear parents, every child has a unique and special way. Please, I request you, don't compare them with. And also maybe the child says, I know it is carrot, teacher also knows it's carrot, तो मैं वापस क्यों बोलूं, मुझे मालूम है carrot है, so what. Okay, the child may have the answer, but it's not necessary that the child has to say it. So it's okay. Very many times the teachers will tell you, parents don't probe, parents don't answer child's responses, let the child answer. पर हम पेरेंट्स है ना, हाइपर हो जाते हैं, मुझे मालूम है, मेरे बच्चे को मालूम है, ये रोज रोज खाता है, बोलता नहीं है. So that's what happens with us. So please avoid those things, because every child has a different learning style, which is what is important to understand. This learning style could be different. A child may be sitting there in front of the screen, but his thing is to touch and feel and learn. So probably उसमें खाली दिख रहा है, मुझे touch करने के लिए नहीं मिल रहा है. So that's not my learning style. So maybe that's where you are looking at it. So if you are doing a revision and if you are comfortable कि भाई मेरे बच्चे ने screen पे नहीं बोला पर मेरे बच्चे को मालूम है, तो आई डोंट थिंक देयर शुड बी अ प्रॉब्लम. आपको दिखाने के लिए, वर्ल्ड को दिखाने के लिए ये करने की जरूरत नहीं है कि मेरे बच्चे को सब कुछ आता है. It is for your understanding. It is important for you, that you need to know that my child knows. Now look at this beautiful picture. This is what used to happen in the previous years. I'm saying 1969, but shayad even till later. The child was asked, why you got less grades or why you're not responding. आजकल क्या होता है? Look at the child's expression here today. We go and ask the teacher, इसको कम grades क्यों आए? ये तो सब कुछ करता है घर पे, इसको कम grades क्यों आए? This is the problem. Because as parents, we are blaming the school for not doing things. But what are we doing at home? Look at that picture where I said what happens here depends on what happens here. That what happens here is very important. घर पे क्या होता है, it's very important to know what is happening in the school. अगर आपको इतना ही लगता है कि आपका बच्चा फर्स्ट ग्रेड से एंड हाईएस्ट परसेंटेज से आ सकता है, तो ही इज मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम विद यू. He should be doing much better if you are good teachers. Your teacher is only spending probably 2 hours, 2.5, 3 hours with the child. So you should be even much more blaming your own self and asking, इसको इतने कम grades क्यों आए, rather than pointing out to a teacher, which is important. But yes, very important is ultimately education system cannot be out of this. So child, parent, and school, all of them together will make a good combination. Only then the puzzle piece will be complete. That is very important for any future citizen. You as a parent need to be a communicator, you need to be a thinker, you need to be a caring person, and you need to be principled. When I'm saying principled means आप अभी यहाँ पे टीचर के सामने कुछ और बोल रहे हो, वहां जाके 4 पेरेंट्स के सामने कुछ और बोल रहे हो. That should not be there. Your honesty, your values, your respectfulness, your responsibility should be for what is right, rather than इससे सुन लिया, अच्छा ये जा, अरे उसकी मम्मी ये बोल रही थी, हाँ मैंने तो ये नोटिस ही नहीं किया, and then the WhatsApp chats happen. That should not happen. You need to be a communicator, and be a communicator directly to the person who you want to talk to. Be a thinker. If you have come up with a creative idea, and if somebody else has come with a creative idea, ask that person, why don't you go and talk to the teacher? It's a good thought. Okay, we will support you, but it's a good thought. Let's find out why that teacher has not been able to implement it. So then you're caring about the child, then you're feeling about the child, then you're feeling about that school, which is important. Respecting teacher is very, very important, because you have to understand she's laying the foundation years of your child. A child who is not able to see, read anything, look at anything, hold anything, like a school or a strange place like this, has started liking the school, is something which needs to be respected for. So when a parent speaks ill about the teacher or shows disrespect, even child will start doing the same, because he's only picking up the attitudes from the parent. It's very, very important to respect, care, communicate, understand, and cooperate. Now, very interesting is it's important to practice reading at home. आजकल हम लोगों ने लाइब्रेरी जाना बंद कर दिया है, बुक्स लेना बंद कर दिया है, टॉयज हम लोग बहुत एक्सपेंसिव लेते हैं, all kind of remote control cars, all kind of remote control equipment we are taking, but we have lost on reading. And because we have lost on reading, the child's thinking, the child's recognition, the child's memory, everything is going back to worse, because जो देखा उतना ही देखा and उतना ही समझा, because it's only one way. Basically when you're reading to the child, there is an emotion involved, there's a voice involved, your voice which is involved. जरूरी नहीं है आपको इंग्लिश बुक्स ही लेनी है पढ़ने के लिए. You can definitely take your language, your mother tongue books, any kind of a mother tongue book which आपने पढ़ी हो, which is good for children. You are ultimately developing a language in the child. It's not necessary that you have to inculcate English language only. Also the child sees different kind of fonts of words, big font, small font, pictures. You can also have a lot of communication and discussion with the child. ये पिक्चर में क्या हो रहा है, before telling the story. अच्छा तुमको क्या लगता है क्या हुआ होगा, इससे क्या होना चाहिए, अच्छा अगर तुम होते यहाँ पे तो क्या करते. These are the things which are helping the child to think, problem solve. जो हम constantly बोल रहे हैं ना कि my child is not able to do this, my child is not able to do that, because we are not helping them do the problem solving. I'm going to share one or two examples when I have some question answer sessions. But catering to, and also very important is कुछ बच्चों को बुक्स अच्छी लगती होगी, कुछ बच्चों को चीजें अच्छी लगती होंगी. सो इफ यू डोंट हैव बुक्स, यू कैन डेफिनेटली गेट 4 or 5 थिंग्स एंड मेक अ स्टोरी विद द चाइल्ड. कॉन्क्रीट चीजों के साथ आप स्टोरी बना सकते हो. यू कैन हैव कॉमन थिंग्स व्हिच आर देयर इन योर हाउस एंड मेक अ स्टोरी विद द चाइल्ड. Probably the child will, you can make some songs, and if you don't know songs, you ask the child, he will pick up and make some songs. Maybe take a common tune and use those for. You will find a lot of children who don't know the song will hum the song in their own, with their own language, with their own vocabulary. Allow them to do it. ये मत बोलो अरे ऐसा song थोड़ी ना है, इसका ये है नहीं. Let him hum. That's okay. As he grows older, he will learn the right one also. But if it is his creativity, don't curb it, don't thrash it out. Connecting, I've spoken about. Okay, let your child be more accountable to. Very often क्या होता है, जब कोई भी बच्चे मिक्स ग्रुप में, पेयर्स में खेल रहे होते हैं, किसी ने भी गलती की, सबकी माएँ पहुंच जाएंगी वहां पे. ओके, इसने इसका किया, उसने उसका. नो, लेट द चाइल्ड बी अकाउंटेबल. उसको अपना झगड़ा, अपनी लड़ाई अपने आप सॉल्व करने दो. हाँ, जब तक मारा पीटे पे तक नहीं आते तब तक उनको करने दो, because it's also, and also let them take the onus. Now you see in this picture, a child was playing with the ball and he has hit the glass and he has broken the glass. Let him be responsible to go and talk to the person concerned and say sorry for it, because yes, he has done this mistake. कल उठ के तो क्या हुआ, अब आपकी कांच यहाँ आती है, मेरा बच्चा यहाँ खेलता है, कांच पे लग गया, हम क्या कर सकते हैं. That's not the attitude. Then you are not keeping him accountable. Parents need to realize that discipline should come before the deed is done, not later. It should not happen. Many a times parents play an important role of lawyer. मेरे बच्चे ने किया, पिछली बार उसने, उसके बच्चे ने किया था, उसको तो कुछ नहीं बोला था आपने. नहीं, आपके बच्चे ने किया है, वो गलती है, accept it. It's important. Gracefully accept the and discipline the child. Tell him that you are not going to play this side, you are going to play on the other side. If you are going to, and also very important is, if need be, you will have to maybe pay for that particular window pane of that person, because that's also showing the child, oh, my parents had to do it for so and so, or my parents did it for so and so. They did not just allow it to happen. At least ask. The person may say no, नहीं ठीक है हम कर लेंगे, but at least ask. It's important कि आपका वो glass pane change करके देना है क्या. It so very often happens like this. Just think about your own self. You have your car and another child comes and scratches on that car and goes away. How would you feel? How would you feel if the ball of another child comes and bangs on your car glass? What is going to happen? These are the things which any other person will. It's also called increasing empathy with the child. Listen with open mind. Don't have closed mind. Many a time the child will come and say, Mama, इसकी मम्मी इसके साथ नहीं रहती है. So and so child's mother doesn't stay. तेरे को क्या करना है? And then we make few more comments which are not needed for the child. And we give the child some kind of opening remarks which the child goes and shares with his friends, and it becomes a gossip situation. Very important, parents. It's important to have an open mind. You don't know that person is in what situation. In what situation is she or was she not staying with the child? So when you're telling something about your child or about somebody else's child, do not go with a defensive mode. Do not go with a prejudice. Do not go with a prejudiced mind and say that, you know, ये ऐसा हुआ है इसीलिए उसके साथ वैसा हुआ. No, you are nobody to judge it. So leave it to that and say that, okay, maybe she's not staying. In case if you come to know anything, you will come and discuss it with me. You're not going to talk about it with anybody. That's what is being graceful. That's important. So that you know that the child is not going to go and talk about these issues with anybody else. Leave your baggage outside. Outside here means that when you are coming from office, please leave your office baggage outside. If you have any fight with your parents, in-laws, anybody, please leave that baggage outside the house, because when you are getting it, or even if you have had a very bad day, don't go with that bad mood to the school and talk to the teacher in that manner, because it is important that your baggage was your baggage. You cannot upload it on somebody else. It's important that that small little problem can become such a huge problem because the way you are communicating. Yes, before you come and talk to the teachers with any kind of problem, please drink a glass of water. Please have a nice cold glass of water and breathe in and breathe out 5 times and then go and talk. You will feel that, okay, do I really need to talk about it? Do I really need the requirement of this issue to be discussed to that extent? Or should I just share it with her that this has happened and this is how I felt? I I thought I should come and share it with you. So I'm sharing it. That's it. It's important to leave your baggages outside. We now, very interesting point sentence that I found, so I wanted to share. We won't blame our dentist when we don't brush our teeth properly and we get our cavities. But so then, why do we think that we can blame the teacher when our kids are not doing well in the school or they're not studying well? Think about it. Blaming teachers for the problem in education is just like blaming doctor for you getting sick. Preschool teachers are moms, psychologists, human toilet papers, literally many times, nurses, magical unicorns, and all kind of roles are being performed by them. Maybe we are over. Maybe if we are over, if we had overpaid teachers and underpaid pops or artists, pop artists, they would have been better education than music. Because nowadays we listen to more music rather than listening to the teachers. That's what is happening. Very interesting example that I would like to show all of you is that you cannot expect all the children to do all the things in the best possible way. We will have to go by their skills. We will have to go by their abilities. So the teacher's job would be easier if parents do their best and help the entire process come into existence. Thank you very much, dear parents. I think I have kind of summed everything up. Last sentence which I want to share, especially because Muskan has invited me from her school for her parents. Teachers work very hard. Let me tell you that, and they work hand in hand with parents to educate the children. Both are equally important, and both have equally important roles. They should be treated with respect. Both parents and teachers should be treated with respect. The ultimate goal should be the child's education, and focus should not waver. The child should be the focus, nothing else. Thank you very, very much. Now I will take all kind of questions, Muskan, from you. I'm sure quite a lot of parents have quite a lot of parents would have shared a lot of questions. You have anything, definitely go ahead and share. Otherwise, I will share the screen with
Ma'am,
all kind of
actually, you
questions.
have covered maximum
Everything.
points that I don't think so that there would be any questions in their mind. But since we have some
Yes,
questions, we
yes,
can just discuss those.
definitely, definitely.
The
Okay.
first question is one of our parent wants to know that my child knows everything, but in front of others, she refuses to say even a single word. How can I overcome this? And if someone comes to our house, she never enters room where everyone is sitting. I guess ये बस काफी पेरेंट्स की कंसर्न होती है कि आता सब कुछ है पर जब हम उसको गेस्ट के सामने बुलाते हैं कुछ भी बोलता नहीं है कुछ इंटरेक्ट नहीं करता.
Okay, my first question to the parents is, why do you want to make him a performer in front of anybody, for that matter? What I'm trying to say here is that the child has his own entity. आप खुद सोचो ना, आपको अचानक जाके स्टेज पे खड़ा कर दिया और बोलो अभी आप अपने बारे में 5 वर्ड्स बताओ, या आपको जो भी कहानियां आती हैं वो बताओ. आप बता पाओगे? आप तो बड़े हो, एज एन अडल्ट हो, यू हैव हैड सो मच ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस. अचानक अननोन ग्रुप के सामने जाके खड़ा कर दिया. Why do you want them to do that? One thing. At one end, I am very happy to see the first sentence. First of all, my child knows everything. So as a parent, you need to be happy about it. Even if the child doesn't want, why he is refusing to come or enter in that room? Because he knows, the child knows, he or she, whosoever it is, the child knows the minute I'll go out, मेरे को बोलेंगे गाना गा, कहानी सुना, alphabets बोल के दिखा. So the child is wanting to refuse and not wanting to do that. And probably that is the fear that the child has ingrained in himself, that आता हो तो भी नहीं बोल पाएंगे. If you make it absolutely relaxing thing to him, the child is just with everybody in the room. You're not asking anything, not even his name or her name. You will find over a period of time, probably 5, 10, 20, 25 minutes, the child will personally, by himself, herself, start talking, discussing, telling few things about himself, herself. And also many children have this habit. I'm sure this parent should actually observe this, कि जब आप कुछ नहीं पूछोगे ना, वो बच्चा क्या करेगा, अपने रूम में जाएगा, अपना एक फेवरेट टॉय उठा के लाएगा और बाहर आके बैठ जाएगा. He will or she will not say anything about that toy also, but just hold it and sit, because that child wants somebody to ask, अरे वाह ये आपका टॉय है, बहुत प्यारा है, इसका कोई नाम है. The other person also will feel like talking, and you will find that there'll be a change. But the more you pressurize, probably the second part If someone comes to their house, अभी तो फिलहाल someone is coming, even if the child comes to know that somebody is coming, तो भी वो room में से बाहर नहीं निकलेगा. So what is important is that don't make your children a performer. Let them be themselves. Let them not be a demonstrator in front of anybody. And I'm glad that if you know that your child knows everything in front of everybody, but you don't need to declare it. Like in my presentation also I did mention that you don't need to declare it, don't need to show off that my child knows everything. Next question.
थैंक यू मैम. मैम
Yeah.
आपका शायद ना
Yeah.
जस्ट अ सेकंड,
Network.
ईयरफोन्स का, हेडफोन्स या ईयरफोन्स का बहुत साउंड आ रहा है.
Okay. Is that better now?
Much better. Yeah, we'll go to
Okay.
the next question.
Yeah. 1 second.
Ma'am, one of my parent has asked, my child is 6 years old, but his tongue is not clear. He doesn't speak clearly.
Okay.
So what can they do?
Yeah, two things I want to bring it to your attention. Of course, he's 6 year old. The fact that he's saying 6 year old, when we say his tongue is not clear, is it to do with certain letters in terms of R or S or those kind of letters, L, when the child has to, because some children take a little longer time as compared to the other children with certain letters. So whenever there is a word, like for example red, and the child is not having a very clear R sound, then the child is bound to pronounce it as lead. Okay, so that happens because the sound is not clear. The child is still not very clear with his speech. That is one thing. I would also suggest that if one could take this child, I mean, it's important that because you're saying 6 year old, I am not a pediatrist. I'm not a speech therapist. I am a human developmentalist. So my only concern would be that if you are finding that this is a concern for you, or it's not getting solved, then it is important that you need to take him to the right speech therapist or speech modern speech therapist, first of all to your pediatrist who is a doctor, and talk to him about it as to this is the concern. And if the doctor suggests that you need to do it, sometimes क्या होता है, कुछ बच्चों की जीभ थोड़ी heavy होती है, means the tongue is little heavier, so therefore the language comes much later. I'm not too sure, this parent has not mentioned, but I want to know, because some children have a habit of talking first before they start walking, and some children have walking first before they start talking. So what is the developmental milestone that this child has picked up? If the child started walking first, then his speech will take a little time to be clear. But I would still suggest that if the parent has this concern, but yes, what you can do is the letters that you feel are making, if it's only about some letters, then it is important that you can have some vocabulary downloads. You have some letter stories, like R story, F story, Sir story, those kind of downloads, and you can help the child listen to it, and also with the child discuss, okay, now you saw a ship, so what was that? Okay, what is next that's going to come? So what happens is, you see that if the child is using it very regularly, is it getting clearer? That is one thing. And also very important is that the doctors will give you the correct medication if it is to do with the tongue issue, because basically all the letters, clarity of letters will only be based on the tongue movement of the child. And last thing which I want to share with all of you is that also sometimes, what kind of teeth does the child have? Because of too much of chocolates or too much of coke and stuff like that, there's a lot of decay of tooth, or there is some kind of a gum problem that the children have, and that pain does not allow them to use the tongue in the right manner. See, when you're talking, you're using the tongue all over your top portion as well as your teeth. So if it is a gum problem because of which there is a pain, the child will want to touch that part lesser, and therefore the speech problem or speech clarity may not be there. These are some tips of mine. Muskan, I hope your this parent gets some relief from this.
I'm sure they will definitely get lots of solutions out of this. So let's move to the third question. And
Yeah, 1 second. Huh? Is the voice better now?
Yeah, much better, ma'am. Much
Okay.
better. So the next question is how to control the child's anger and how to handle child when he is irritated.
I think in my session, I have already discussed this point very, very clearly. Yes, dear parents, the child, there are two things which we all have to remember. One is, where has this child learned the anger? If it's a parent who is displaying this kind of an anger and the child has observed the parent doing something similar like this at home, it is the parent who will have to improve his or her behavior first of all. Second important thing is, if you have been giving in very easily for his anger, it will keep on increasing because he knows when I get angry, I get away with things. So that's very important thing that you need to do, that you do not have to, if for certain things he's getting angry, which is not necessary, there is no need for anything to be getting angry for, first of all. So anger is no solution to anything. So, and another important thing is that when he's angry, there are beautiful videos again on YouTube which talks about when you get angry, then what. There are also some stories of honeybees, that there is a very beautiful story of angry honeybee. Just show this child this particular and tell him that, this is what happens to you sometimes. You get angry and this is how you become. And that angry honeybee is a beautiful story. Also, is it important to be mad? These are different story books which are there on getting angry or getting upset, and how do you handle what happens because of that, are some of the ways that you can deal with. But yes, it's about parenting style, that you have to keep up to your control without you getting angry, and letting the child show his anger in whatever form he wants to, but leaving him at that point in time and saying no means no. And you will see that over a period of time these things will happen. But another thing, do not instigate these anger moments for him. For example, you are putting a television for him and you're not telling him that it will be switched off after this point in time, or if he doesn't understand half an hour, you say okay, as soon as the big kata on the clock comes on 6, I will switch it off, so you be ready. And priming the child, it's 5 already, it's come on 5, another 5 minutes and I will switch it. So you're preparing the child so that the child is also mentally getting prepared that now it will be switched off and it will not be switched on for certain period of time. This is something which is a practice that you will have to do to handle the anger system. Especially anger मतलब जब लैपटॉप नहीं दो, मोबाइल नहीं दो, कोई टॉय नहीं दो, तो ही एंगर होता है, अदरवाइज बच्चों का और एंगर होने का कोई रीजन नहीं रह जाता है. सो दैट्स द होल थिंग. खाने के लिए वो एंग्री नहीं होंगे बिकॉज नन ऑफ द मदर्स विल बी देयर हुल से कि मेरा बच्चा खाना नहीं खाता है, इसके लिए मतलब उसकी वजह से एंग्री होता है. मोर देन हैप्पी हो जाएंगे पेरेंट्स अगर खाना खा रहे हो बच्चे तो.
Absolutely true.
ऑलराइट.
Yeah,
सो
wonderful suggestion.